Hello, everybody. This is Angel Ribo, the CEO Confidant, and we are here. It's Sunday, February. What day of February? Is it 17th, 18th, 19th? I forgot what day is it. Raymond, do you remember?
Today is the 16th.
Wonderful. I think it is. Yeah, okay, wonderful. And we are here. I am here in Dallas, Texas, Plano, Texas, to be precise, and we are here with Raymond Keller. Again, this is Angel Ribo, the CEO, Confidant, and the Xpnsion Network, accelerating the consciousness of humanity. Raymond is a veteran professor of West Virginia University. He's the author of Venus Rising, a fascinating story about the second planet here at the second planet here. Next to the Earth, and we met with Raymond at the Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles only a few days ago, and we actually started to talk. And when he told me about his fascinating story, I said we have to bring this to the Xpnsion Network. So Raymond, thank you very much for taking some time on a Sunday to be with us.
Thank you, Angel. Great pleasure to be here with you, and sorry we were delayed by the circumstances there at the convention.
Oh, no problem at all. We're very persistent here, and here at the Xpnsion Network is founded, created, owned by practitioners for practitioners. So everybody who has a story to tell has a space here with us. So thank you for being here with us. And I was talking about the solar system before, and why Venus, for a veteran history teacher of West Virginia University. What does Venus have that attracted your attention, Ray?
Yes, as a longtime member of the Theosophical Society, the co-founder of our organization, Helena Blavatsky, her very first writing was about the planet Venus. It was called History of a Planet, and it was written back in 1887, and it was all about Venus being a great muse and an inspiration for thousands of esoteric learners and teachers throughout human history. Dante, Emanuel Swedenborg, Tannhauser, many others who had even traveled to Venus. And I decided that it was time for an update of Venus, especially that with so many contactees and so many experiencers of contact with Venusians and scientific findings about life on Venus and so forth, for a new history of a planet. And so I wrote Venus Rising, a concise history of the second planet as an update. And it's an excellent book. It's won awards in London and Southern California book festivals. There's over 600 footnotes in the first edition. There's over 100 photos and illustrations, some of them in color. I don't know if you could see that there. Botticelli's Birth of Venus there. And so the book has received wide acclaim and attention, and despite being published in 2015, 5 years ago, under the subject of UFOs, it's still number 90 on Amazon.
Wow. Obviously there's a few books out there with the title, with the name of the planet in the title, but I would say that in general, maybe people think more about the red planet, about Mars, about expeditions to Mars, that we're going to end up doing a lot of things in Mars, and several groups in the planet investing about, exploring Mars. So what, when you were compiling, you said so many footnotes. That means that you have really done a good job looking for references, for work from other people, to make sure that what you were saying was accurate. So at the end of the day, what is that, if you had to name only one thing, what is that most fascinating thing about Venus that people don't know?
The most fascinating thing is that there's life there, and the Air Force was monitoring the Russians who were sending Venera probes, and they did a top secret report titled White Stork, Project White Stork. And the Russian scientists revealed that the heat around Venus was electrical in the ionosphere. It wasn't on the surface. They revealed that the diamagnetic properties of the atmosphere allowed for breathable gases at the surface. And then other friends that I have, like Omnek, Onek, and others, have elaborated about the life that exists underground on Venus. Even Dr. Michael Santini, who wrote a book about Venus and worked at the NASA and Jet Propulsion Laboratory and everything. And he was writing about the life that exists underground, can exist underground on Venus.
Why do you think this is not mainstream? Why do you think people don't openly know that there's life in Venus?
Well, I'm coming out with a book soon by Headline Books called The Vast Venus Conspiracy, where I talk about this various space agencies on Earth and their attempts to cover up life on Venus. There are 4 nations that have sent probes to Venus so far. The United States with the Mariner, Magellan, and some other probes. Russia with its Venera probes. Japan with the Akatsuki probe, and the European Union with the Venus Express. And there's been a total of 44 space probes that have been sent to Venus, which is actually more than Mars or more than even the moon or any other orb in the solar system. So really, when you come to think about it, Angel, we have more probes going to a planet that NASA tells us that nothing can exist there, that it's too hot and it's a dead, lifeless world. But yet, why are they spending most of their money, all these 4 countries, and their time in exploring Venus if it's what they say it is? That's why I say that NASA, the acronym, should be never a straight answer.
What you mentioned cover up. Why? What's the reason for covering that up?
Well, because Venus is the closest planet to the Earth, it's the primary source of physical UFO sightings, as well as some ethereal sightings. And NASA has no problem in telling us that, yeah, maybe life exists out there in the 4,000 other planets that the Kepler has discovered so far, the exoplanets, but we don't have to worry about it because they're so far away, so many light years. It would take. It's highly unlikely that they would be coming here. So it's just it's just another case of deniability by ignoring the fact that not only Venus, but probably all the other planets in our solar system either have indigenous forms of life or they were colonized by other space-faring peoples.
Is it possible to encounter, people originally born in Venus here on Earth?
Oh, yes. There have been many encounters, and Rob and I were highlighting one of them. Rob did an interview with Commander Aura Raines he came out here into West Virginia, and we met her at a location out in the country, and he interviewed her. And so at that convention, he was playing some of the questions and answers that she gave.
Okay. And if we went to colonize Venus, what would we find?
Well, they wouldn't let us colonize, and since it's already colonized, but we would find that surface conditions were much more tolerable closer to the poles of Venus, and that there wasn't an interconnection of played out lava tubes where the cities and structures are mostly contained. There is some photographs that have been taken of the surface of Venus showing green patches near the poles, as well as some structural buildings that look like pyramidal or H-shaped buildings. But the fact of the matter is that Venus in diameter is only about 300 miles less than the Earth, which is basically a twin planet because it's rocky, terrestrial, and it's about the same size as the Earth. But the gravity of Venus is only 81% that of the Earth, because about 22% of Venus is hollowed out, and so it's not as dense. And when Valiant Thor had visited Washington, D.C., his story is in my first book, The Venus Rising. He explained that Venus was a connection of cities underground in Venus, where most of the population lives.
That's fascinating. If we were to go and live there, so could we actually breathe the air at the surface in some places?
Oh yes, that would be possible. There's slightly higher sulfuric content because there's active volcanism on the planet.
How long would it take today to actually travel from the Earth to Venus?
It could be traveled, interdimensionally, it could be just a matter of seconds through a portal or a stargate. But in a physical ship, it would take about 5 days.
Oh, 5 days only?
Yes. And the Venusians they basically have 4 types of spacecraft. First, they have the orbs, which are a type of personal conveyance. They're called a nimbus. And then you have a scout craft, which operates on the electromagnetic lines of flux around a planet or in the vicinity of a mothership from which the scout craft are deployed. Then you have a Venusian observation ranger or a Saturn class observation scientific research vessel. That's about 100 feet across in diameter, and it's also saucer shaped. And that operates with an electromagnetic pulse as well. And then the huge carrier ships have a neutron pulse engine, and they're used for long distance travel between the planets and as well as the stars. And there's another kind of space platform. It's not a ship, but they have actual space stations. There are about 10 of them that are scattered out at Trojan points between the planets, so they can communicate with other planets when they're on the other side of the sun.
Interesting. Why do the people from Venus, the Venetians, that's the right way to pronounce it? Venetians?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so why do Venetians come to Earth? What do they do when they come here? Why do they come here?
Well, they've been coming for about, basically since the dawn of time. And the a Sufi prophet, Rumi, and the poet and prophet. He said that there were about 7,000 Venusians on the earth at any one time. And he explained how the bees, for example, were a gift. The honeybees were a gift from the Venusians to the people of Earth. And so we have these various interactions of Venusians coming and going. And we know, though, for example, in the end of the 1940s, that the Venusian presence on the Earth was greatly augmented, because at that time, the Earth entered, the powers on Earth began to launch rockets and to experiment in atomic energy, and especially to detonate nuclear weapons in the atmosphere. And with our rapid industrialization and technological buildup that's far outpacing our spiritual development, they felt it was time to increase their presence on the earth. And Dr. Frank Stranges, who wrote Stranger in the Pentagon and wrote about Valiant Thor and so forth in his visit, he said that that the Venusians constituted an angel force on the earth.
Wow. Is there a difference? What is the difference between someone from Venus that we might encounter here from other maybe aliens? Is there a difference? Well, I mean, has this been categorized or studied?
Oh yeah. Oh yes. There's some physiological differences. An extra bone in the spine, and then there's extra tear ducts, but these things are not detectable unless really close up, or it's very hard to tell that. You couldn't tell a Venusian walking down the street. You might be able to sense the presence of one because they emanate a powerfully beautiful spiritual aura.
Wow, fascinating. When someone reads your book, what do you think is going to be the feeling? What's going to be the experience behind the book? What kind of emotion that person is going to be experiencing?
A lot of people, well, Angel, a lot of people who have read it, their first impression was, wow. They said they've always suspected these kind of things, but now that they knew it was true. And a lot of people have been really overwhelmed by the Venus folks. So there's 3 of them. This is the second one, the final countdown rockets to Venus. And then the third one is Cosmic Ray's Excellent Venus Adventure. So I'm the Cosmic Ray. People call me the Cosmic Ray. I'll show you how I kind of got started in it. Was way back over like 53 years ago. And here's an article in the National Enquirer over 50 years ago. That's me.
That's you, okay.
And there's a flying saucer. And I published a magazine called the Flying Saucer Report.
Wow.
And I worked very closely with a gentleman named Gabriel Green, another Gray Barker, Jean Duplantier from Saucer Space and Science up in Canada, Earl J. Neff of the Cleveland Ufology Project, Coral and Jim Lorenzen, and a very famous pioneer ufologist by the name of Dr. Leo Sprinkle. He wrote the introduction to my book, and he said it's the best contactee book he's ever read.
Wow. I now understand. I mean, publishing what you have published and then what you have done, now I understand why people call you the Cosmic Ray. Okay, so if people would like to know more, what's the easiest way to find you, Raymond?
The easiest way is to just go on Amazon.com, and otherwise go to thepromiserevealed.com. And Rob Potter's published many of my articles on his site. And I occasionally publish articles as well with Lon Strickler's phantomsandmonsters.com out of Pennsylvania.
Okay. And the best way to reach you is to go to your website?
Yes.
thepromiserevealed.com?
Yes, they could go there, or they could send, they could email me. It's just rkeller1 at mix.wvu.edu. I don't have too much in the way of technology. So if just old-fashioned email would be fine, or they could write me care of Headline Books in Terra Alta, West Virginia, if they'd like.
So that actually you can easily find not only the books of Ray on Amazon, but also you can go to Facebook and find him. You can go to LinkedIn and find him also. Again, remember, he was a former professor at West Virginia University, so that's going to make very, very easy for you to find him. Definitely, besides his email address, as he just mentioned. So Ray, I'm really happy that we were able to do this. I would like you to actually leave the audience with a question. With a question maybe about Venus or about something else that's part of your wisdom, Ray, that would leave them thinking. Could you ask the audience a question that would leave them thinking?
Sure. I would leave the question of, what has Venus meant to you? We look up in the night sky and see this brilliant star, the very one that Jesus identified with in Revelations chapter 22, verse 16, as the bright and morning star. And what does Venus mean to you? Has it had some connection in your life? And if you really want to know what your Venus connection is, on page 252 of Venus Rising, I look at various factors throughout your life, physical effects, metaphysical questions. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah. Okay. This is under starseed activation and accessing the signal from Venus. I give the 2 resonant frequencies for the planet Venus. And then to find out your EQ, your extraterrestrial quotient.
Wow.
These are all these questions you ask yourself. If you have these physical characteristics, if you have these emotional characteristics, if you have these extraterrestrial experiences, these out-of-body types of out-of-body experience, metaphysical experiences, and your psychic development. What have you been doing, or what has been happening in your life that has led you to develop those powers that are latent within you, and accessing those that you can identify to what percentage of connectivity that you have to our sister planet Venus.
Wow. I can see, and I'm sure that the audience can see too, how excited and enthusiastic you are about Venus and the role that it's playing every single day in our lives. It's been a pleasure to have you here at Xpnsion Network, Raymond. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Angel. Great pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're extremely excited to have had Raymond Keller here after we met him at the Conscious Life Expo only a few days ago, just 1 week ago. And again, this is Angel Rebo, the CEO confidant here at the Xpnsion Network, accelerating consciousness with humanity every single day. You guys, I hope that you have enjoyed our conversation with Ray as much as we have enjoyed it here. I thank you for being here today and hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.